Okay, it is Monday, June 11th, and just wanted to do a garden update. And this is our squash, and it's still doing pretty well, but we're starting to get some yellow leaves, so don't know if it's from the dry or the heat, or if maybe a squash borer has finally found this plant. But we're still doing well. So I'm going to enjoy it as long as we can. And this is one patch of the squash. Right over beside the strawberry bed, this is one of our beds of the white Kennebec potatoes, and they're still green for the most part. Some of the foliage is starting to die back, so it's getting closer to time to dig these guys, but we're going to wait until pretty much all the green has died back before we dig, to get the most potato out of this that we can. So they're still green, still going, but getting closer to time to dig on them. We have 3 buckets on the patio of the cosmic purple carrots that we've been picking here and there, but we're going to go ahead and harvest the rest of these today. And we've enjoyed them. They've been delicious, and they've made pretty well, but they're about done. You can see the foliage is starting to fade on them. We have 1 bucket here, 1 bucket here, and another bucket here. So we're going to go ahead and harvest the rest of these guys today. This is our little salad bed we have right out the back door, and all the lettuce in it is starting to bolt. So we're probably going to pull this and let the chickens have a little party in this. But in between, or in and amongst all this lettuce, we have planted some peppers, so we already have something growing here, and we'll plant something else, around this later too, after we pull all the lettuce. But there's one little pepper over there, one guy here, another one in the middle of the red romaine, and another one over here. This is another bed of squash, and it's still doing well. Again, some of it's starting to turn yellow, but still getting squash off of it. So this is longer than we got squash last year, so we're definitely going to let it go till it quits bearing, because we're still enjoying fresh squash. There's one that's about ready to be picked over there. And this is one of our blueberries, and we don't know what's going on with this guy. I don't know, maybe he got too dry, because it's been pretty hot here, getting up in the mid-90s every day, and we haven't had very much rain at all. We got 1 good shower the other day, but so maybe we let him get too dry. So we're going to put some, water it real well, and hopefully he'll spring back. These are flats of coleus that we started from seed, getting about big enough to transplant somewhere. And this is mint we started by the water hose, and it's gone crazy. Mint seems to thrive pretty much anywhere you stick it. And some flats of impatiens we're going to put out. Yeah, these blueberries don't look quite right either. They didn't plump up well, and I think it's just lack of rain. And we watered, but you can water a lot, and it doesn't do the same good that a good rain does. But we had 1 shower the other day that lasted maybe about an hour, but before that we hadn't had rain of any considerable amount in about a month and a half or longer. So maybe just didn't get quite enough rain. We'll see. Maybe they'll still plump out. This is our little fig tree, and still has figs on it. They haven't grown very much yet, but maybe they'll do. But there's one. There's 2 on this little branch. And there's one up top somewhere. Yep, there's one up there. So a few little figs here and there. Maybe we'll get enough figs to snack on this year. This is the other squash bed. This is the one over in the shade. And it's still giving us a little bit of squash here and there. So I don't know how much longer they'll last. Kind of pitiful looking over here, but still getting some squash of it. So let it go. As long as it'll make squash, we're going to let it go. And these are our white Kennebec potatoes that we planted over here in this shadier area too. And you can definitely see which way they're trying to strain. I'm sure they're straining over here as we're looking at it now, over to the left, trying to get more sunlight. But we're going to wait till all this foliage dies back, and then dig them and see if we get anything off of here. But I don't have huge high hopes for this bed, just because they don't look as robust as some of the others. But Maybe we'll get something out of it. Okay, and this is the one little pepper area we have. This row, this whole little section right here, these are cubanelles. This middle row from here, back down the middle, they're kind of wandering, but these are red Marconi. And then this row, up against the squash, these are the tequila sunrise. And they're doing well. We're eating off of them about every other day. These ones I showed you over here in the salad bed, these are mammoth jalapeno, all 4 of these that I showed earlier. And this is our onion bed. It has done really well this year. The onions are big and beautiful, and I can brag on these because we've never been able to grow these big onions before, and we were trying to grow the wrong variety. So we switched this year, and these are candy onions, and they're the ones we're supposed to be growing in this area. So we have grown some big, beautiful onions, and we're going to be doing an onion harvest today. And the onions they've gotten big and beautiful, and they're bigger than a baseball. And speaking of baseball, our Mississippi State Bulldogs won their Super Regional against Vanderbilt yesterday, and we are going to the College World Series of Baseball in Omaha. So go State. And this is a row of our Contender bush green beans, and they are doing well. And sorry, we'll be harvesting them today. We've got a bunch ready to pick. These have been delicious and wonderful, really enjoying them. So this is our row of Contender bush green beans. And right beside that, we have our row of peppers. I'm going to get these all mixed up, I'm sure, but on the end of this row, these are our Emerald Giants. And I haven't seen much blooming from them yet. Here's some with a couple little blooms, but they haven't started making heavy yet. After that, from this section down, we have our cubanelles, and they're doing okay. We've been getting a few off of them. Then after that, let's see, I believe these are the red Marconis. I've seen them called red Marconis, and I've seen them called Marconi red, but whichever you call it, that's what this is. They haven't started bearing real heavy out here in the middle yet either. And from here down are the tequila sunrise peppers, and they're doing well. We've been eating more off the tequila sunrise than any of them. You can see there's some ready to pick today. So there's some good pretty ones ready to pick. And we'll do that here shortly. Yeah, we still need to do that. On the other side of our pepper row down the middle, we have our cabbage, and it is time to start harvesting some of these heads. I am so pleased with this cabbage this year. We've got big, pretty heads. Good, firm, beautiful heads of cabbage. Here, ready to pick here in June. We find the big one we're going to eat today. This one's nice. This one's really pretty. Good, firm, beautiful heads of cabbage. And this guy is, looks like he might be getting a little past his prime. He's lunch today. So having a head of cabbage, we're going to definitely do a harvest. And we're going to try to leave them out here until we're ready to eat them. So we'll probably start eating a head of cabbage a day. I see coleslaw, steamed cabbage, lots of cabbage recipes in our future. But big, pretty heads of cabbage. Pleased with the cabbage harvest this year, or the cabbage crop. Okay, this is the row where all of our greens were. We had scarlet kale, curly kale, and red Russian kale. And we have pulled all the kale but a few and planted purple hull peas on either side. So over here is purple hull peas. Over here is purple hull peas. They're up and doing pretty well. We left every other curly kale down the middle just to give us some greens to still eat. And where we pulled every other curly kale, we have planted our okra. So we have like 2 okra plants, then a kale. 2 okra, then a kale. So hopefully when the kale quits making, we cut it down, it's still leaving plenty of room for our okra. And if we have to thin the okra further, more later, we'll do that. But hopefully it's spaced out enough. But judging, going from the size our okra got last year, we may have to space it further. We'll see. So this row is kale, okra, and purple whole peas. This row has our Brussels sprouts. And we are still letting them go. We're leaving them in the ground because they look like they're starting to swell. So we may still get Brussels sprouts out of these. But they're bigger. They look like they're doing what they're supposed to do. I'm just going to give them a little bit longer. Let me see. There's another. Yeah, this guy. Pretty nice size sprouts. Hopefully they'll swell more. A little bit bigger on this guy. So it looks like it's doing what it's supposed to do. I just hope it has time to do it before it gets so hot here. I mean, it's already hot. But okay, this row and this row. We've got 2 more rows of the contender bush green beans. They're kind of looking a little poor. I have to beef up this soil some more. All right, on this fence, on the front of it, we have more peppers. This your Tequila Sunrise. They're our most prolific pepper this year. They're doing well. Yep, Tequila Sunrise from here down that way. These, I don't have my little sticker. Hang on. Yep, from here and that one. Those are red Marconi. These are Cubanelle. That one and that one. And then these are more of the Emerald Giant on this side of the fence. So these all start kicking and start doing well. We should be pepper rich this year. And these are starting to bloom, so good deal. And these are Mammoth Jalapeno from here. This one, that one, and that one are the Mammoth Jalapeno. On the other side of this fence, we have cucumbers. And then down past the cucumbers, they're starting to bloom pretty heavy. Should have cucumbers in a couple, I don't know, about a week maybe. And then, I need to tie this guy. We have Roma tomatoes on the rest of this fence. This is the bed of onions where we harvested them and then just replanted the ends. And it's come back, it's doing fine. So these are our little spring onions, the multiplying onions. And we planted Swiss chard just around the borders and in the corners of this bed, and it's starting to look nice. It's finally coming on out. This is a real pretty one. So we've got Swiss chard and green onions in this bed. Okay, this is our plum tree, and we still have, can't find, there's a couple of big pretty plums on it. Hope you can see that. It's a nice plum. And this was a nice one, but something else thought so too. So guess we can give this one to the chickens. There's one down. Don't even let them get ripe before they start eating them. And this is our pear tree, and the tree itself is still healthy and pretty, and there's a couple nice pears. But we have issues with our pear tree. Some rot on the end, and they're covered with this cedar quince rust. Let me show. Oh yeah. When you get this cedar quince rust, they grow out these funny hairs and this orange dust all over them. And we haven't had this in about 3 years, so we thought we had it beaten, but this year it came back with a vengeance. So I don't know what we're going to do about that, but we should probably not get a harvest. Yeah, this one, that orange dust that comes out, and I guess it spreads through that, but here's one with the hairs on it. But it's cedar quince rust, and I think it can affect pear trees and apple trees maybe. So got a bad case of that this year. Not exactly sure what to do about it. Haven't had it in several years. Thought it was gone, but it's back. Yay! So probably don't anticipate a good pear harvest this year. These are where we had the leftover white Kennebec potato seed, and we just kind of put them out on the ground under the fruit tree and covered them with hay just to, see what would happen. And they seem to still be doing well, but we're going to wait again until all the foliage dies back on all these potatoes before we start digging. And we'll see what we get then. Okay, this is our row of red Lesotho potatoes, and the foliage is still green in some spots, but it's definitely starting to die back. So I don't think it'll be much longer before we're harvesting these. They're definitely getting ready. And we scratched around a little bit and found there's definitely potatoes under there. So it won't be long before we're digging this row. But we're going to let it go till most of the foliage is gone. So it's still a little while. These chickens, we threw the pear in there. Oh, I'm sorry. We threw the plum in there, and they're going crazy, chasing each other, trying to get that plum. Yeah, oh, new babies we still have sectioned off, cordoned off from these chickens. They're wanting they want in on the plum action. That's pretty funny. So the plum's a treat. They're sharing. Playing keep away. All right, this is, on this chicken fence we have, I can't remember what kind of sunflowers? Titan. On this fence we have Titan sunflowers and cucumbers. I need to get out here and do some training. I'm probably going to try to tie these sunflowers to the fence. Hopefully it'll provide some shade for the chickens and some support for the sunflowers. So, and we have cucumbers in here with them. I'll get this sorted out a little bit more. But cucumbers and Titan sunflowers on the chicken fence. This is our other shade crop of squash, and we're still getting squash off of these. The plants are starting to slow down, and parts of it are turning yellow, and I don't know if that's from lack of water or lack of light, or if the squash borers have finally found it. But every time we see it, well, we haven't seen many borers, but when we have seen them, we've killed them. I've killed one. I think Alan told me he killed one, but they haven't gotten real bad yet, so hopefully we'll get some more squash out of these. Okay, on this row, on this side of this row, these are Roma tomatoes, and I'm telling you, this is not a Roma tomato. This was supposed to be Romas, but these guys are not. I don't know what they are, but there's one plant in here that is not Roma, but all the others are Romas, and they're bare and heavy. I haven't seen any turning color yet, but they're good and heavy and hanging with Romas. So anticipate a nice harvest from these again this year. And this is turning into one of my favorite tomatoes. Last year was the first year we grew them, but they make heavy. The tomatoes are sweet and good, and they don't have a whole lot of juice and pulp. So definitely like these tomatoes. But this whole row, all the way down, is Romas. Gotta get out here and do some tying on these guys today. On this side of the fence, the Romas were on one side, and they're kind of coming through, but on the other side, we have more contender bush green beans, and these are looking healthy and pretty, ready to pick. We're going to harvest some of these today. This is another row of contender bush green beans, and you can see on this end, last year we had problem with root knot nematodes, and we're having issues with that. Just these first, the first 4 feet of this row. So I'm gonna get out here and put some black cow and some blood meal and maybe some good chicken hay, chicken dirt around these, and try to beef up this end of the row, because right beside it on one side, they're healthy and pretty. This is the ugly row, and then right beside it on the other side, beautiful healthy beans. So I'm gonna add some more and try to beef up this little middle chunk here. Strange. Okay, this is our row of mixed tomatoes, and these guys are the black vernissage, and they're a really pretty green tomato. They're kind of variegated and beautiful. I don't know what they'll look like when they start to ripen, but they're gorgeous green, and they've been healthy, hardy plants growing in bunches. So we'll see what they look like. Kind of fun though. This first section of row is all the black vernissage, the different levels of variegation on the tomatoes. Just really pretty. These are a paler green, and then these are a darker green. I hope they keep a little of that variegated look when they ripen, but I don't know what to expect with them. I know they're pretty now. Anyway, first chunk of this row, black vernissage. They're huge, aren't they? On down, This is the Brandywine section of the row. There's some big, funny looking tomatoes to me, but healthy looking. And they're all bunched up and just a funny looking tomato, but pretty. Seem to be doing well. The plants are healthy as they can be. The tomatoes are odd looking, but I'm used to the Better Boy. We grew Roma and Better Boy, and we've always grown Better Boy. Last year was the first year we added Roma to our tomatoes that we grew, so I'm just not used to the way these look. They look healthy. They're just funny looking. Look like pumpkins or something. If anyone has grown the Brandywine, tell us if this is typical looking. I figured it must be, because I'll show you the Better Boys in a minute, but they're beautiful. They're just like we know them to look. And this is in the middle section of the row, so I mean, this we thought was blossom end rot, but it doesn't really look like it. It just looks like a scabbing type thing on the tomatoes. But the tomatoes are all flat and almost shriveled looking, but it doesn't look unhealthy. So let us know if this is what Brandywines are supposed to look like, if you have any experience with them, because this is our first year to grow them. Alright, and on down, these green beans are gorgeous, but on down, these are our Better Boy tomatoes, and they're healthy and pretty and hanging like grapes. They're big and pretty, but I don't see any sign of any of them starting to turn yet. No ripening, but beautiful tomatoes. And these are Better Boy. So we have Black Vernissage, Brandywine, and then Better Boy on this end. Healthy, pretty plants. Haven't seen any hornworms. Haven't seen any. Last year we had aphids covering our tomatoes, and I haven't seen any aphids yet. So that's good. But, alright, that's it on these rows of tomatoes. And these are more contender bush beans. And all the way down the row, they have that root knot nematode look to them. The leaves are shriveled and ugly. So we're going to sock some more blood meal, black cow, and some chicken hay, chicken dirt around them, and try to beef up the soil even more. But they are not pretty. But right beside them, a foot away, a row of butter beans that are not affected by the nematodes at all. Beautiful, healthy butterbean plants. So I don't know, but we're going to keep on working on beefing up this row, because it definitely needs something. Okay, this row is another row of Roma tomatoes, and they're looking pretty. I'm going to get out here. We need to get out here. Sorry, I got distracted by an interesting bug. It flew away. Alright, this is a row of Roma tomatoes, and they're looking healthy and pretty. Need to get out here and do a little bit of tying up on them, but they're hanging with blooms and hanging with tomatoes. So they seem to be doing really well, not affected by the nematodes next door. So, but they almost look like they might be starting to turn a little. So maybe we'll have us some tomatoes before long. I want a tomato sandwich. Alright, on the other side of the Roma tomato row, we left some of the Swiss chard, and we picked it really heavy, about 2 weeks ago, and we just thought, if it comes back cool. If it doesn't, that's fine too, but it's come back, and we got some new pretty chard out of these plants that we almost cut down to the ground. In between each of these Swiss chards, we planted some peppers, and we cut the Swiss chard back really heavy to give the peppers light, but the Swiss chard came back faster than the peppers could catch up. But there's peppers under there. So when the Swiss chard finally gives up, we'll have peppers already started. The chard's about to give up, but not yet. So peppers and chard on this chunk. On this end, behind the Romas, or on the other side of the fence of the Romas, we have our eggplant, and it is starting to look good. We had a problem with those little flea beetles at the beginning. They're still there, but we get them every year, and we used to really worry, but the plant always seems to outgrow it, and the plant's starting to now. Got lots of little blooms happening on these plants. So hopefully we'll have a good eggplant crop this year. Last year I think I got one eggplant the whole season. I was very disappointed, but this year got high hopes for it. Plants look healthy. They're starting to outgrow that little flea beetle stage and have a lot of nice blooms, so maybe be frying some eggplant before long. This is our other squash area, and starting to kind of look a little less than perfect. It was really pretty for a long time, but we're still getting squash off of it. Still haven't seen any borers on it, so we're going to keep on letting it go as long as it's picking squash. But some of the leaves are starting to turn yellow, probably on the wane. Alright, here is our corn patch, and this is Stole Evergreen, and it is crazy tall. I don't even know how to give you any perspective on this. I'm standing with the camera level by my head here, and then I have to angle up to get to the top. It's probably 10, 11 feet tall at the top, maybe even 12 at the top of some of the really, really tall ones. It's huge, and you can see it's already tasseled, and it's already been dropping pollen, and some of the ears are starting to get ready. You can tell when they're starting to get ready, they start angling away from the plant, and your silks start turning. They'll get a lot darker and drier than that when it's really ready. This one's getting close to ready. This one is. We can probably look through and find a couple ears ready to harvest today. Yeah, this one over here looks promising. We had that little rainstorm I was telling you about the other day. I had a good shower. It lasted about an hour. It rained pretty hard, so it knocked some of the corn over. But if you leave it alone, it'll usually stand itself back up unless it broke the stalk. And on some of those, there may be some ears ready to harvest. We'll look through there. But yeah, like this one, he's not coming back. He's broken off. So we can probably break it off and get it out of the way today. This one is just leaned over. I don't think it broke it. So it should stand itself back up. But there's some good, I don't know. We'll see. Close to ready ears on it anyway, but it's already trying to stand itself back up. Yeah, this ear. Pull it. Alright, let's do a reveal. Shuck it and see what it looks like. This is the first time we've seen it. Oh, yeah. Aw, nope, he wasn't ready. Looks like beautiful corn, though. It needs to plump up some more. Hopefully that rain shower. Oh, it's gorgeous. It's just not ready. But it's going to be, hopefully it's going to be pretty. Taste it. I'll taste it. All right, I'm going in. It's really sweet. It's almost as sweet as the Silver Queen. Hot dog, and it's an heirloom variety. The chickens are going to go bananas. Hang on, I'm going to go film the chickens going crazy over this. Now I'm through the husks in. I'm about to throw half of one of these ears into them. See how they like it. Y'all ready, girls? Here we go. Woohoo! They got to play keep away with a plum. Now they're getting to play with some corn. It's good. I think we're going to be pleased. I hope they plump up more. It's got to plump up more than that. Probably maybe around July 4th. Be ready to pick. Now I'm going to go give this other half to our new girls over here. These are our Buff Orpingtons we bought, and we've had them, since they were tiny, tiny chicks, and we had them out here with the big girls so they can get used to each other. And I think today might be the day we release them into the other flock and hopefully see if they get along. But I'm going to give the new girls some corn. Here you go, baby. They're a little shyer than the other ones. They're not quite sure what to do with new food yet. One of them will get brave. Okay, this is the bed where this is our asparagus bed, and we also planted some lettuce around the edges of it. We've decided to go ahead and let the asparagus go ahead and fern out and feed the crowns of the asparagus, so we're not going to harvest it anymore. Kind of hurts my feelings, but we're going to go ahead and let it get good and strong for next year. And this lettuce is our red romaine, and we're letting it go to seed so we can harvest it. We still have, this is the Lola Rosa we grew from our own seed we saved last year. It did fine, but we still have plenty of Lola Rosa seed left from that batch that we harvested last year. So we're not going to let these go to seed. We're going to pull these today. But we are going to let the red romaine go to seed. And we'll harvest that seed and then get these out of here. We have marigolds planted in the blocks in the front of the asparagus bed. Hopefully they'll bloom soon. At the end of the asparagus bed, this is our radish bed. We need to pick these today too. Then we just set out some Swiss chard at the corner of this bed, and it has done great. I figured it'd be way too hot for it, and out on the corner, I mean, it gets hot, boiling sun out here, but it's doing great, so we're gonna let it go. It still tastes good. Still haven't grains off it yet. That's worked well. We planted more okra out in front of this corn patch, and this gets the morning sun, and gets sun probably till about 11, so it gets a good bit of morning sun before it gets over and gets shaded out by the corn. So it's doing well. These are our thornless blackberries, and they're still doing well. We're eating a few little blackberries here and there off of these. Here's some that aren't quite ripe yet. Looks like everything needs water. We just need about a week of good hard rain to help everything out. This guy did not come back, but we have another one that came up from the roots back. You know, we've got that we can transplant back into this area. We were trying to give it enough time to see if it would actually come back, but pretty convinced now it's not going to. This weed is called Virginia buttonweed, and it is horrible. In the garden, it's not too bad because it pulls up fairly easy, but in the lawn, it will practically destroy it as it spreads through the roots and through seeds. So you can see patches where it's coming up in the yard. Yep, here's one blooming. And it'll, again, spread under the ground and over the ground, and it choke out your grass. Horrible. Horrible weed. This is a patch, I mean, we're trying to get out here. We haven't started a lot this year, but we try to get out here and keep it pulled. So this grass, it hasn't taken over too bad. Grass is still pretty healthy. But over here, where we don't pull it, I mean, it will just take over a lawn. It's horrible. It's a plague of grass. All right, this is the last thing, but this are along the fence row, the peppers we planted in pots, and they are going nuts. Let me show these to you. I'm tickled with these. These, I'm gonna get them all mixed up. These are mammoth jalapeno, and they, in these pots, are like triple the size of the other ones. So I guess just because we mixed up, planted them in straight black cow blood meal, bone meal, what else we put, azomite. It's just planted in straight rich soil, so they're doing really well. We planted them on this fence so we could tie them up against the fence to give them support, but that little jalapeno is about ready to be picked too. Here's another mammoth jalapeno, and these are huge. Like, there's my waist. They're almost up to my waist now. So big, healthy, beautiful plants. Going through the corn jungle over here. These are emerald. Shoot. All right, this is an emerald giant bell. Real healthy and pretty. There's another one. Having to climb through the corn plants over here. All right, these two. This is a cubanelle. This is a cubanelle. Then this bucket has red Marconi. A couple little peppers on it. Red Marconi. This one's red Marconi. No peppers on him. And then down at the end, these two are Tequila Sunrise. And again, hanging with peppers. These have done really well this year. And last year they didn't do diddly. So I can't tell what they're going to do from year to year. But these are making really well this year. Tequila Sunrise. And this one is a Tequila Sunrise. And that is about it for the garden update. Can't think of anything else to tell you. Alright, thank you very much for watching. One last thing, sorry. These are the braids of the garlic we harvested a couple weeks ago, and it braided up really pretty. Kind of proud of these, but lots of nice garlic. So I'll let this hang up here a little while longer to get really good and dry, and then I'll take it down and bring it in. But I thought these turned out really pretty. I got lots of nice pretty garlic this year. That's really all. Thanks for watching.